Don't let yesterday take up too much of today. Hey guys, it's Marissa from Pittsburgh Fit, and today's nutrition tip is on soy sauce. So if you love soy sauce like I do, I highly recommend switching to coconut amino. So it tastes really similar to soy sauce, but has so much less sodium, and you really can't tell the difference. So give it a try, and if you do, let us know what you think.
Hey friends, Coach Eric from Pittsburgh Fit with your PF Go workout for today. So we're gonna start our warm up off with some dead bugs, some bird dogs, and some staggered stance good morning. So these slow dead bugs, what we're gonna look for here is no matter what, the goal of a dead bug is to keep the low back pressed against the ground the entire time. So Marissa's gonna be here on the ground. She's gonna bring her legs up a little bit, so they're gonna be right there. Notice there's a 90-degree angle right there. We wanna maintain that. Arms are gonna come straight up. So shoulder blades are gonna be off the ground, low back pressing against the ground. Now opposite arm and opposite leg are going to slowly move down towards the ground and then come back up. We're looking for slow movement here. However, notice how both arms were moving there? We do not want that. We only want one arm and one leg moving at a time. So that's gonna be your goal. We're gonna really have to think here and really concentrate. Sorry guys, making you think while exercising. All right, after that, you're gonna roll over and you're gonna basically do the exact opposite of that movement. You're gonna do 10 bird dogs. So opposite arm, opposite leg come up, and then knee and elbow come together. You're gonna do 10 with one arm and one leg, and then 10 with the other side. Okay, now again, this is not a super fast movement. I want you to take your time and really think about making sure you're getting that knee and elbow all the way together, and then making sure that back leg isn't being kicked up towards the sky. You should be taking the bottom of your foot and pressing it through the wall behind you. Next up, we have our stagger stance good mornings. So for these stagger stance good mornings, one foot is gonna be flat, the other foot is just gonna be on the toe. That back leg is not doing anything other than making sure Marissa does not fall over. From here, she's gonna push her hips back to get a nice little stretch in the hamstrings. And what she's doing here with her hands is putting them behind her head, and she's getting a nice upper back engagement by doing that. Honestly, I don't really care too much about where the hands go. What I do care about though is, can you switch legs? Is making sure that this front leg here has a slight bend in the knee and that you're pushing your hips back so that you get a stretch in that hamstring right there. All right guys, you're gonna end up doing 10 on each side. After going through that one more time, you're gonna move on to the second part of the warm up, which is RDLs, glute bridges, and alternating reverse lunges. So let's start with the RDLs. Marissa's gonna pick up a PVC pipe, which will simulate a barbell, but you can also use a pair of dumbbells for this as well. What she's gonna do here is her feet are gonna be right underneath her hips. She's gonna push her butt back and let that bar come right down her legs. Now, she's only gonna go as far as her hamstrings allow. You do one where you let yourself collapse at the bottom? So a lot of times people think the goal of an RDL is to get to the ground. The goal of an RDL is not to get to the ground. The goal of the RDL is to get a stretch in your hamstrings and then go back to a standing position. That looks a little different for everybody. So come on back down for one more. Good, her hamstrings allow her to go right there, and then she's gonna come right back up. There's no collapsing of her back or shoulders at the bottom. Next up, you're gonna go to glute bridges. So you're gonna set that bar down, you're gonna come on down to the ground. She's gonna pick her toes up, so just her heels are on the ground. Good, now she's gonna push through her heels and bring her hips up. Pull your toes up a little bit more, good. When she does that, that's really gonna activate the hamstrings, and that's what we're looking for today. We have a lot of deadlifts today, so we wanna make sure the hamstrings are good and ready. She's gonna bring her hips down, right back up. Notice she's pausing for a second at the top to make sure her hips are all the way open. After 10, she's gonna hop up. She's gonna go into 10 reverse lunges. We're gonna be alternating legs. So she's gonna step back with one leg and then pull herself to a standing position. Now, when she does this, both legs are working. The back leg is pressing to the standing position. The front leg is pulling her to a standing position. So both legs should be working in the reverse lunge. All right guys, we're gonna go ahead and move on to our strength piece for today. We're building to a heavy set of 5 deadlift. So what you're gonna do here is you're gonna take about 12 to 15 minutes and build to a heavy set of 5. So as heavy as you can lift for 5 repetitions on the deadlift. So let's look at the deadlift here. So Marissa's gonna start with her feet right underneath her hips. She's gonna hinge at the hips to at the top of the knee. Knees are gonna bend slightly. Bring your hips up just a little bit more. Good. Now notice that her shoulders are above her hips are above her knees. This is the position we wanna be in. We wanna make sure we're using our hamstrings here and not so much of our quads. If she were to squat a little bit more, that's more quad dominant, so the muscles on the front of her body. If she brings her hips up a little bit more, now we're targeting the hamstrings and the glutes. That's what we wanna be targeting today. Now, go ahead and do a few deadlifts for us real quick. Notice she's keeping that bar very close to her body. That's what we want, because what we also want to do is we want to make sure her lats up here, that upper back muscle, is also being activated. A deadlift is not just a lower body movement, it is a full body engagement. So we want to make sure everything in our body is tight when we do this. One more thing I want to talk about is breathing. At the top of your deadlift is when you should be breathing. You should be taking a sharp breath in to fill your belly with air before going back down and going into the next deadlift. Try out that breathing technique for today and let me know how it works for you. Next, we're going to move on to our workout. Our workout today, we have 6 sets for time. You're gonna do 10 deadlifts and 20 sit-ups. These deadlifts should be considerably lighter than what you worked up to in your strength. I want you to aim to try and get these 10 deadlifts done unbroken. And then you're immediately gonna get into 20 sit-ups. So, Marissa, can I see 10 quick deadlifts here? When she does these deadlifts in the workout, they should be moving a little bit faster. In the strength, it was kind of slow. Here, she should be going tap and go, tap and go, tap and go. Then she's gonna drop the bar. She's gonna go right down to the ground for 20 sit-ups. She taps the ground above her head, taps the ground in front of her feet. She has her feet in a butterfly position right here. That is a-okay, or you can have your legs straight, or you can have your knees bent, whatever floats your boat. Now here's the nice thing. After each round, you have a 1-minute rest. So that's your motivation to do those 10 deadlifts unbroken. That's your motivation to go fast here. Get done quick, rest. This should roughly be almost 1-to-1 rest to work ratio, which is awesome. All right, guys, have a great workout. Let us know how heavy you get on the deadlifts. Have a great day.